And the American dream. It ain't no doubt. It ain't no doubt. Flair, bring that old cashmere coat out here.
Can't help it that I'm custom made. I can't help it that I look good, smell good, can dance all night long.
Welcome to Midday Sports with Rod Uncensored. And I got special, he's not really a special guest, but he always special when he comes on. So I appreciate the time. Chris Deeks of Fifth Down Sports, man. Before we get into the topics for today, man, that Pac-12 Media Day, man, it was great to watch, man. Did you watch that?
I don't watch any of the media days. I don't care what they say. I don't care what they say in media day.
It was a good sighting, though, man. I was listening to
I mean, what is anybody looking for in the Pac-12? They're looking for Dion, and Dion wasn't there, so yeah. I'm not worried. I'm not too worried about that. But I saw you posted over the weekend. How many games is Colorado going to win? Have you seen Colorado's schedule?
Yeah, I've seen it.
They might not win a game till October.
I think that TCU game, they gave them 19 and a half. I'm taking it. I'm taking Colorado the plus 19.
19 and a half. They're not gonna win that game.
No,
they're not winning that.
They say
they're not winning that game.
They
can get a cover. They could cover the 19 and a half. That's fine, but they're not winning that game. If they don't beat Nebraska in week 2, they might not win a game till October.
I don't know, man. I don't like Matt Rule like that. He's a choke artist too, man. We can't just say necessarily.
No, that's why I'm saying if they don't beat Nebraska in week 2.
Mm-hmm.
If they don't beat Nebraska in week 2, Colorado State, that's going to be a tough one. At Oregon versus USC.
What about Washington State?
That's your September. You're not winning. You're not winning at Oregon.
What about
not
Washington
with this
State?
Colorado team.
What about Washington State?
Oh, what? That's what I'm saying. Washington State. They don't play Washington State till November.
I'm still going on the heavy end.
I'm just talking about September. They're not winning at TCU. TCU coming off a national championship. That team is stacked. They got Nebraska at home,
mm-hmm.
which if they can't beat Nebraska at home, then they can't beat Colorado State. So those are three. Those are three right there. Then they start the Pac-12 schedule at Oregon and home against USC. They're not beating either of those two teams.
Mm-hmm.
October 7th at Arizona State. That's probably a toss-up game. I'll give that one to Arizona State because it's in the desert. Stanford at home is probably your first win. That's trouble. That's trouble for Colorado because that's their first win. Then they're at UCLA. That's not a win. They're not going to win that one. Oregon State got a better quarterback this year. They're going to be a better team. I mean, Oregon State is a surprise. Is one of the people's surprise teams in the Pac-12. They're not winning that game. So you got Arizona, Washington State, and then they close the season at Utah. It's gonna be tough. It's gonna be tough. It's gonna be tough to even make a bowl game this year because you're looking at four games that you could possibly win.
Well, what if they do knock TCU on? You think that'd be a Cinderella story? It's a possibility. I mean, any given Saturday, something weird can happen.
It would be something that it could be something that pushes them pushes them going forward. But again, TCU, I mean, at TCU, it would be an impressive win for Colorado. And it would say, all right, they're for real now. But again, you look at the rest of that schedule. You look at the schedule in the Pac-12. They might. There's only two wins, right? There's only 2 games that they can win right now, and maybe 3 if you throw Arizona State in. You got both Arizonas and Stanford. Otherwise, you're not win. There's not a single game in there. At Oregon, you're not winning. USC.
I have a question though. I have a question though.
Yeah.
If who do you think is the best leading before they do any polls? Who do you think is the best defensive team in the Pac-12 right now?
Best defense. The
best defense in the Pac-12. Who do you think got the best defense
Utah.
in the Pac-12? Utah, right?
Utah's not even close.
Okay, Utah. And who do you think would be after that, if you had to guess?
Best defense in the Pac-12. It's probably USC. I hate their defensive coordinator. So I can't.
Jordan?
It's probably UCLA.
Okay, UCLA. And did they not lose to a Tulane team, right? Last year, right?
Who's that?
USC, right? Last year they lost to Tulane, right?
They lost to Tulane in the bowl game.
In the bowl game, right?
I mean, in a bowl game, which half of USC's players sat out. So, I take that for what it is.
Okay, but let me go on a different route, right? Did Marshall not smack Notre Dame in the mouth? Everybody had that game. Everybody took the points on that, right?
Yeah,
and it was everybody had the same starters on both teams, right?
Yeah, I think it was that was what Marcus Freeman's second game, first game at home.
So I'm just saying, I think they're gonna surprise somebody. Do I think they're gonna go undefeated? No, but I think they're gonna have a surprise game. Like, damn, Deion really won this game. I feel like they got a lot of players that, you know what I mean. That boy from Houston is a dog. Cat Steele, remember him at Houston? He was a good running back.
Mm-hmm.
They're gonna have to. Only way I see them really winning some games if they really dig out deep and win in the trenches and run the ball with the running backs they got. They're going to have to run the ball and play situational football. I just don't see how you can make a 360 like that with this, you know what I mean, with this talent and the brand new talent they got in. It's going to take a lot for them to win games.
I mean, you look at their schedule right now. And if they get 5 wins, that's an impressive. That's an improvement on That's an improvement on last year. You don't forget this was a 3-win team last year.
No, it was 1. It was one game.
This is the talent level. Deion has already brought in a lot of talent. He brought in a lot of transfers. He brought in a lot of talent.
Mm-hmm.
But all of that is on top of a team that won 1 game last year. Mm-hmm. So to expect them to go from 1 win to a bowl, I'm just talking bowl eligible. You have to win 6 games. Show me the 6 games that they can win, because they're not there. I see 6. I see 3 winnable games on their schedule. Every other game is going to be an absolute. Every game and will they keep it close? Will they be interesting to play? That's going to come when we see what Deion is as a coach, what they put on the field. how their offense looks, what kind of defense they run.
Duck Nation.
Yeah. I mean, or Oregon, and that's not to say the Pac-12 has a bunch of juggernauts. They don't.
No.
They've got two, maybe three that you're looking at as powerhouse teams, and that's Utah, USC, and UCLA, and that's it.
And they're gonna be gone after this year.
In the Pac-12, and so I mean, to sit there and say to anybody that has Colorado over 4 wins, I mean, show me that other game on the schedule, because, like I said, if they don't, and that's the problem with a front loaded schedule like this. If they don't win, if they start out 0-5, I mean 0-5 can become 0-7 real quick.
Mm-hmm.
Because teams lose for that first month, then they don't want to play anymore. You know, you're sitting there going, I mean, if they get blown out in let's say they get blown out in that first game, that's not good. Dev, I worry for you, man. I worry for you.
He says a bounce back in.
The Ducks, don't.
He said we had to beat USC this year.
Yeah, only problem is your quarterback is still Bo Nix. So if you've got faith in Bo Nix, you got a lot more faith. You got a lot more faith than I do. I've seen Bo Nix play for 5 years. I know I know Bo Nix really well. Yeah, he'll look great in some games, but when you need him the most, he's going to throw it to the other team. What's going to happen?
Well, yeah, man. Let's get into the topics for the day, man. Let me see what I wrote down. Yeah, let's go with number 5, man. The NBA, man. What are you like this all season, man? Do you see Dame getting traded before the season starts?
He needs to be traded before the season started.
I think you should go with Scoot, man. I think you should go with Scoot Henderson, man. Let him have that team, him and Simmons. I think you had to get this thing done.
I think the Trailblazers should do Dame right. Damian Lillard has done everything for the Trailblazers that he can do, and they should move him to get to. It should be a help me help you situation where they send him to the right situation and get a lot, and get a good enough package back to where it helps them in the future. It doesn't help the Trailblazers to play Damian Lillard next year. I mean, that team's not going anywhere in the West. If I'm them, I ship him out east and get a good package back. Now, what team would give them a good package back? That I don't know, but I would say a team like Miami should be in those sweepstakes. He gets on a team like Miami, Miami's got a chance.
And I like Miami, man, for Tyler Hero. I think that'd be why not? Why not?
You get a guy like a Tyler Hero back, and probably some picks, and probably some draft picks down the line. That would be a good move for the Trailblazers, and it would be a good thing for Damian Lillard, and it would show that the organization is doing the player right. Because they're sending him somewhere. They're saying, all right, we're in a rebuild, but we want to send you somewhere where you can still win. Now, if they send him somewhere like Charlotte or send him to like New Jersey, Brooklyn, or one of these dumpster fire teams, well, that other people are going to be like, well, I don't want to sign there. They're not out for my best interest. Damian Lillard stayed in Portland when he could have gone anywhere else. So they should do him right and get as much as they can back for it. So
do you think
that's what I would do?
Easily. Do you think he's one of the greatest, Blazers of all time? Or how do you have him ranked as
Blazers? That's he's probably on that list. He's probably on that list. He's probably, I would say he's definitely top 5. He's not going to be Clyde. Clyde Drexler is always going to be the top of that list.
Mm-hmm.
Clyde and as much as they want to say, Bill Walton's always going to be on that list.
Mm-hmm.
So is Damian up there with those guys? You'd have to ask a Portland Trailblazer fan.
Mm-hmm.
where he lands, but he's probably behind those two, and then somewhere in the next 3, 4, probably 3, 4, or 5, somewhere in there. Nope. I think we lost Rod. I mean, it based on the last question, top Trailblazers of all time, Kevin Duckworth has to be in there on that list. Other than that, you're not looking at many. There's not many in Trailblazer history. I mean, you can go back to the 70s and get and find some good players on those teams, but
I think he's up there, man. I don't think it's too many Blazers to really pick from.
Exactly. That's why I'm saying there's not that many. There's not that many, but like I said, I don't know enough about the Blazers from the 70s to say, Dame is definitely, to put him in a definite spot. But I would assume he's top 5.
Yeah, and and hopefully, I just think what market they are in, they cannot, it's hard for them to compete for the title. Whenever, they're going to have to just grow within and go with Scoot at the end of the day, because Scoot Henderson should have been a little higher, in my opinion, in the draft, man. I think Scoot is going to have a better career than Brandon Miller, easily. But that's another story.
It's one spot. It's one spot.
Yeah.
It's not like he was going to go any higher. He went 3rd, didn't he?
Yeah, you went 3rd. And, I don't want you to dig you back in that rabbit hole because you're going to talk about the draft.
I mean, he wasn't going 1. He wasn't going to go 1 with Wayamba in there. So you knew he wasn't going there. So it's only one more spot. And Brandon Miller. I mean,
I got a question for you, man. Since we in the NBA, man, it's off season. There ain't much to talk about. Where do you have Paul Pierce ranked for all-time Celtics? Where do you have him ranked?
Somebody just asked me this before, and this is nothing on Paul Pierce. Paul Pierce is great. I love Paul Pierce, but this is the difference between ranking the Celtics and ranking the Trailblazers. The Celtics have a top 5 that is that is unmatched. I mean, you're talking about some of the greatest of all time. You're talking Larry Legend, Bill Russell, Kevin McHale, Robert Parrish, Bob Cousy.
What about Dennis? The menace, Dennis Johnson. I loved his game, man. He was an aggressive guard.
Dennis is good. Paul Pierce is better than Dennis Johnson.
Dennis, you got what? JoJo White. You got a lot of.
I mean, again, this is nothing on Paul Pierce. Paul Pierce was great, and Paul Pierce was a great Celtic. In that Paul Pierce played in a time when the Celtics were at probably their worst that they've been in their history, and then they came out of that with the Big Three, and they got their championship, and had their run with the Big Three. So that's commendable, because Paul Pierce could have forced his way out of Boston at any point during that stretch when they were as low as they could be, and he stayed and stuck around and had faith in the organization, and it paid off. It paid off in the end of his career. But so all of that going in, but when you look at Celtics lore, those top 6 guys I just gave you, that's a hard class to get in. I mean, you talk about Celtics lore. I mean, Reggie Lewis is on that list. Reggie Lewis has got to be on that list. And if not for his untimely demise, you'd be talking about how good you would have compared Paul Pierce to Reggie Lewis right out of the gate. That's how good Reggie Lewis was at the time.
And you know what I mean? I arguably said, you know what I mean? I'm not a Celtics fan, but if Len Bias didn't have that OD, man, I think Larry could have got another 2.
Oh, absolutely. And if Len Bias doesn't go full Len Bias, if he were there, I mean, people compared him to Michael when he was in college. And watching his freshman year in college, you can make that comparison because of the way Len Bias played. If Len Bias is there, Larry doesn't log the minutes that he logged. He probably extends his career. He probably extends Larry's career by about 5 or 6 years going on. And you add Len Bias to the team of Larry, Danny Ainge, Kevin McHale, Robert Parrish. You add him to that. You add a player like that to that list. The Celtics were easily the best team in the league when you add them all together. The only thing is we never got to see it.
We never got to see it, man. But he was definitely a body catcher. You want to talk about face-to-face dunking? He was definitely a great Maryland basketball player, man.
He was a great player. Just got caught up in the wrong thing. I mean, that life happens, man.
Life definitely happens.
You live that life. You die that life. That's how it works.
That's how it goes. Let's go on, man. Let me go to this, man. I over the weekend, man, I'm on this new chat. I'm on the chat where the what you call it? I forgot the name, the Cool McCain's chat. What is it? Let me give it some praise. The play callers NFL matchup madness. So I'm on the chat, and I'm going back and forth with a Jet fan and a Bill fan. And I had this comparison. I said, man, Josh Allen is a Tony Romo in the playoffs. You know what I mean? He's
you can't say that.
He's been AFC Championship game.
He's been to an AFC Championship game, okay. So he's got that. He's got that on. He's got that on.
I can be that. But he cannot grind it out and get out the AFC. With all the talent he got, he's really underachieved every year. I really feel like for him to have all that talent. So we go on and on and on. So I get along with this Jet fan, credential. podcast, founder, Ryan McCarthy. I said, man, you one injury away from Zach Wilson getting back in the game. So, but these Jet fans are so high right now. They're higher than A.
They should be, as they should be. I mean, they built the Jets have built their entire season. This entire season is built off Aaron Rodgers being their quarterback. You look at everything they've done this offseason, from bringing in the former Broncos coach Nathaniel Hackett. They brought him in. Former offensive coordinator with Green Bay. They brought in 5 former Green Bay players. So their whole team is built on Aaron Rodgers getting them to the promised land. So if you're a Jets fan, yeah, you got Aaron Rodgers and you built your whole team around Aaron Rodgers. So you should feel good about that. I don't mind any Jets fan that is excited about their team this year. However, where does that put? Look at the AFC East and tell me where the Jets stand. I've said this on multiple podcasts. The Jets are still the 4th best team in the AFC. They're still 4th in the AFC. And people say, and I know, you got Gillette behind you. But people tell me all the time, oh, they're better than the Patriots. And I'm like, tell me that the last 14 games. The last 14 times the Jets have played the Patriots, tell me who's won those games. Because I until the Jets do it on the field, I'm not putting my faith in the Jets beating the Patriots on the field. It hasn't happened in 14 games, and that's playing them twice a year. That's 7 years straight.
And
what are we talking about here?
That's a crazy streak, man. That's like the Beatles. That's like having the Beatles streak.
That's an insane streak. Like I understand if you haven't beaten a team, a bunch of times, but you play each other like once every 3 years or something like that. No, they play twice every single year, and for 14 straight games, the Jets have been on the losing end, and it's not like the Jets have never been in the game. I mean, look at last year; they lost on a punt return. Something crazy happens, and the Jets just end up losing the game. So I'm not prepared to put them above the Patriots. I can't put them above the Patriots at all because of the fact that if you ask me, Jets, Patriots, I don't even have to look at the rosters because last 14 games tell me everything I need to know.
And you know what I mean? And the only team who is our kryptonite is the Dolphins.
And Miami's gonna be a good team. They're gonna be a better team this year than they were last year. Miami's gonna be a better team this year than they were last year. So Miami's gonna improve. Now the question is, who's gonna play quarterback? Are they gonna stay healthy? And is the medical staff gonna bungle the situation again? Those are the question marks with the Miami Dolphins. The Miami Dolphins will be fine this year. I think Miami has the second best roster in the AFC East. The Bills are way atop this division, and that's not saying much. No. Because the Bills, it's probably not going to play that way in the schedule, but I think the Bills are far and away your easiest. There's your easiest pick because I think they can easily get 10, 11 wins.
But
I think they're easily number one.
But the biggest thing about them are, is they don't run the ball. They don't run the ball effectively, and they lost a big move. They lost a big pick. Lost a big player, leaves in Evans, Tremont Evans, to the Bears. He was a great linebacker.
We'll see what the Bills have. I think what's important is the Bills have Sean McDermott. He wants to run the ball. He wants to run the ball. They haven't had the personnel to run the ball there consistently, and that's been a problem. I think they have to find their guy. I think that should be their number one goal in the preseason is find out who's your 1, 2, and 3 running backs, so that you don't have to run the ball with so that your quarterback doesn't have to run. And I think the Bills will be just fine. I think where the Bills get into trouble is they struggle in close games, and they struggle when the Bills are. I'm trying to think of the word for them, but the Bills are in a situation where when things are going great, they look great, but when things go downhill, they snowball. Their troubles just snowball, and they just get worse and worse as things go. But I don't think there's too many of those trap games on the schedule. I gotta wait. I gotta pick up my season preview magazines so I can look at all the team schedules. But if you ask me off the top of my head, I would say the Bills. I would say Bills 11-5. I'd say it's a toss-up. It's a coin flip between Miami and New England for the next spot. And I would say the next team in that division that probably had second place, probably going to have 10 wins, whether it's Miami or New England. I got to look at the schedule and see how it plays out. Mm-hmm. But I think New England will be 9-8. I'll just say it for right now. I'll go Miami at 10-5, 10-7. New England at 9-8, and I think the Jets finish either tied with the Patriots, or I think they'll get 7 or 8 wins. But that still puts you at the bottom of the division.
And you know what I mean?
That division is going to be so tight.
I think I can easily say this. We got the best division in football. It's us, the AFC North, and the AFC East. That's really the best division, the AFC, really. You got the AFC South. I call that the FCS. You don't know
the AFC. Yeah, the AFC South is a joke. The AFC South is a joke.
And you got the West, where you already know Patrick Mahomes going to get out. He's going to be about a long shot. You know what I mean? So it's not really too much to really look forward to in the AFC right now. I think the NFC is the best, where you think their South is way better than our South. You know what I mean? Because I think people are sleeping on in the NFC South. NFC South. They're sleeping on. I think the Saints, like we already said, the Saints going to be pretty good.
Saints are good. I think the Saints are going to be really good this year.
And I got the Dirty Birds being a little bit better this year. Not by a lot, but I see them surprising some people like they did last year.
I like what Atlanta's building down there. I gotta see more. I gotta see more out of they gotta settle on a quarterback. If you're gonna let Desmond Ridder do his thing, give the reins to Desmond Ridder and let him make his mistakes. Let him earn his stripes. Mm-hmm. That's what they have to settle on one guy. You can't keep bringing guys in. You can't, they started with Marcus Mariota last year. Then they brought Desmond Ridder in when things fell apart. They brought Taylor Heineke in, but you cannot. And I've heard things where, oh, Taylor Heineke's going to be the starting quarterback. Well, you drafted Desmond Ridder for a reason, and you either make it his team, or you've got to go get a sure thing. I mean, if it's not his team by the end of this preseason, then then the Falcons have to go do something else, because that should be your number one goal. The number one thing about the Falcons is, can they protect their quarterback? Is their offensive line good enough to protect their quarterback? And I don't see their offensive line's not there. They have all the skill players that they need. I love Drake London at wide receiver. They got to keep him healthy. I love the tight end Kyle Pitts. Love that. They got to get a real running back.
I think Bijan Robinson could be that.
No, Bijan Robinson should be that, but
Sure.
we know what for some reason the Falcons love to put Cordero Patterson out there, and
I think that might be the best move for him. What else can he play?
He has to play running back because he can't catch the football. I mean, you're better off punting it to him. I mean, that's just that's been his whole career. I've seen him too much, but he's not a running back. He's not a running back. You can't. He can't bang with defensive tackles. He just can't.
You know what I mean? You're gonna have to do something. You're tied in with him. But I think that is the really thing. Let me go back to what my thoughts about my Patriots, man. I think we could easily. I could see this team winning 10 games, but I also could see them winning 8. Like, it all depends. Like I said, it all depends what kind of pressure. It's going to have to set the stage. The defense is still going to have to set the stage like they did last year. And if Christian Barmore can stay healthy, and the people up in the middle of that defensive tackle, because that's all with the structure. You got to cause destruction up the middle. You know what I mean? That's how I like a defensive tackle that can be aggressive and get in, and cause problems with the center. But if we can get them edge rushers and the defensive tackles and the nose tackles to get real dirty, I think we're going to have a good sack here again.
Defense will be fine. I mean, Coach Bill, you still have Coach Bill on the defensive side of the football. So defense will be fine. The Patriots need stability on offense. Yeah. They need a real offensive coordinator.
You don't think Bill O'Brien's a real offensive coordinator?
No, I think Bill O'Brien is. I'm talking about last year. I'm talking about last year's team where they had a defensive coordinator as their offensive coordinator. They need a real offense, and Bill O'Brien is a known offensive guy. I mean, look at what he did in Texas, and look at what he did in Houston. Look what he did at Penn State. Look what he did at Alabama. Mm-hmm. He's a real. Now you have a real offensive coordinator. So you have somebody who's used to calling plays in those situations. So that should help. But the biggest question mark is which Mac Jones. Are you going to get rookie year Mac Jones, or are you going to get last year Mac Jones?
And that's the biggest question for me. And the holes in that receiver room. Like, I think the real bad drafting at that wide receiver position hurt us. I can remember Malcolm Mitchell. I can remember Aaron Dobbs. I can remember what's that guy named? Chad Jackson. You know what I mean? The list going on and on and on of bad drafting at that wide receiver position, right? You know what I mean? So the 1 year we missed out on AJ Brown. We could have got AJ Brown and Debo and all the list go on, DK, but we want to pick N'Keal Harry because he's supposed to have been Dez Bryant. Like, the bad drafting at the skill position is hurting us, man. It still is hurting us. We can draft a tight end. We can't draft a receiver.
And they brought in Gesicki for tight end, so they should be all set at tight. I mean, Bill loves to use the tight ends. So, but again, it to me it comes down to decision making. Is Mac Jones going to put and this is where the coaching staff is. This is where an offensive coordinator is going to tell him, look, if it's not there, throw the ball out of bounds. It's okay. It's okay. A punt, a drive ends in a punt. We're okay with that because our defense is that good. Our defense is that good. Just don't give the other team a short field. If we have to make the other team drive 80 yards, we're okay with that because they're more times than not they're going to wind up short and they're going to wind up kicking the ball back to us or kicking a field goal, and we can live with that. We can't live with them having a 40-yard field because they're going to that's what hurts us.
And the problem is this year he's going to actually have to stand on something because last year we wanted to get cursing at Pat, Matt Patricia. I don't think he's going to do this year because you already know Bill O'Brien. He's for the shits. He cursed out Tom Brady on the sideline. He took Tom Brady. He threw a duck to this receiver. To a receiver at that time. He said, "Tom, that's your fault." So he's going to be able to hold him accountable. And he can see Bill O'Brien's resume. He was with him at Alabama for that little stint, but he can be able to show him, "Hey man, I know what I'm talking about. And either you want to listen to what I'm going to say, or I'm going to pull you." And I'm saying, if he has a bad first game and he's throwing ducks and picks, the fans going to scream for Bailey Zappi to come in. And do you really want to hear that again this year? I don't think so.
Yeah.
He heard it last year, Deets. Everybody heard it on national TV. So
yeah, and you saw. I mean, you saw what he did as rookie. Now, this will be, and we have 2 seasons of Mac Jones. We have one good season and one bad season. This is the 3rd season where we get to say, all right, if he has a good season, we can say, all right, the second season was, the second season was a hiccup. It happens. If he has another bad season, we'll say, all right, he had a great rookie season. Defenses have figured something out, or he's regressed. So this is the season that will tell us what Mac Jones is, and that's what we're going to be looking at this year. Everybody's going to have him under a fine-tooth comb. I mean, this is a guy, his rookie year when they played Tampa Bay. The gushing over Mac Jones. Mac Jones is the next Tom Brady, and it was like, relax, guys. Like, this kid just got here.
Yeah,
he's not on that level yet.
Nah, I don't think he ever be.
He just can't be. We got to see. So we'll see what he is. And
you know what I'm devastated about, man. Though. I think they should really retire some of our former Patriots numbers. You know what I mean? I look at who really wants to wear that 12.
You're not going to retire. I mean, it'll be retired, but it's not. It'll be retired. It'll be retired down the line. You're not going to retire his number 1 year into his retirement. Like, I don't think Tom's ready. I don't think Tom's ready for that.
Okay.
Tom's not ready. Tom's not ready for that, and you got to set that up. You got to set that up in advance.
Like I feel like 87 should be retired, man.
Like
87 should be retired.
87 for Gronk.
Gronk and Ben Coach. Like you should have both of the. You know what I mean? You know how the Cowboys got the ring of legends and their numbers on the stadium. I think they Patriots should do that also. But I feel like Tom Brady should have the statue in the future.
I feel like they will. Like I said, I feel like they will. Gronk is a different story than Tom Brady. You could probably retire Gronk's. you could set that up with Gronk. Gronk is not shy about the spotlight being on him. So you could probably set that up. You could probably set that up easy. A Tom Brady retirement ceremony is gonna be a big deal. It's gonna be covered. It's gonna be covered nationally. That's a nationally covered event. So you gotta set that up years in advance. You gotta set that up probably now. You gotta set that up for if you're gonna retire his number next year. You gotta start setting that up now. Like, all right, we're gonna do it. We're gonna do it on week. And you tell the NFL we're gonna retire his number week 7, week 8 of the season. So make sure you give us a game that's going to be a Sunday night game that we can do it at halftime and get everybody in, get all our ducks in a row. That you could do Gronk tomorrow and nobody would care. People in New England would care. New England Patriot fans would care. Nobody else outside of those. Nobody outside of that's going to care. So you could set that. You could set that up in a week or a month in advance. That's not hard. Tom Brady is hard because you have to schedule all that. You got to do all that stuff. You got to schedule that way out in front.
Yeah, man. You know what I mean? Where do you see? Also, why are we just talking? You know what I mean? It's at the end of the episode. Where do you see Northwestern doing next year? Do you think they've fallen off the map with all the allegations and stuff going through?
How much farther can they fall off the? How much farther can they fall off the map? They had one win last year, and that's that's a lot of the reason that.
Do you think he got fired?
I said this on another show. I said this when I was hosting another show. I said if Northwestern doesn't have if they're coming off a bowl season or they're coming off a Big Ten West championship like they've done before, this hazing story never even sees the light of day. Never sees the light of day. The fact that they're coming off a 1-win season is why this story came out. It's why it got legs. The things I've read about this is they're disturbing, but they're not. They don't shock me. I'm like, yep, I'm like, yep, this happens around a football team. And basically have to be like, all right, you guys are idiots. Like the guys that were doing some of the stuff that they called hazing, I was like, that's not hazing. That's just people being stupid. Like, like that. It's fine. And you just need to. I think some of these guys just need to. I think some of these guys are not used to that kind of culture and. But that stuff happens on teams. I've been on teams where things have gone a lot worse. Where a lot worse has been done to people. But at the end of the day, we came together as a team, and we're like, all right, we got through that, and it brought us close together. That's what hazing. The hazing is supposed to be. All right, you go through it. You live to tell the tale, and everybody goes, all right, we did that. It's over, and done with, and now we move on. That's what it's supposed to be. It's not supposed to be something that you look back on and you're like, man, that sucked. That sucked, and everybody's like, oh, you did that, you suck. Well, like they keep on you about it. Like you're supposed to be like, hey, that sucked, but you got through it. You're awesome. Let's go. Let's ride with each other. But yeah, Northwestern's not going to be. They're not. They weren't going to be a good football team this year anyway.
And what's the reason for? I'm hearing. I read something. They said Blake Horn came back to Michigan. Is that true? I've just seen articles.
Who?
Blake. They said Blake Horn came back to Michigan. for another year.
He opted out. He opted into the draft and then opted out. Like I think right before the deadline, he came back. So Michigan is all Michigan should be all set this year. They're gonna run. They're gonna. It's gonna be the same. The Big Ten is gonna be the exact same as it was last year. It's gonna be Ohio State and Michigan, and that's it.
And you know, I mean, I'm interested to see how that goes, man. I'm hoping the backup get a chance, man. I like whenever he does get a chance. I'm really interested to see him, the backup quarterback, man. He can throw some dots.
For
Michigan.
You mean J.J. McCarthy?
No, it's a backup. It's a backup. I forgot the guy's name.
Well, no, J.J. McCarthy's going to be the starting quarterback. J.J. McCarthy's going to be the starting quarterback.
So, what you think about Notre Dame's quarterback? You think they have a solid? You're going to have a solid year?
Well, I love what Notre Dame. I love what Notre Dame has. Sam Hartman. I said this last year. I don't know who's advising this kid because Sam Hartman comes out in the draft. If he was in this draft that was just out, he would have been the number one pick. And there's no question about that to me. I mean, if guys like Anthony Richardson are going at 3, Sam Hartman would have been the number one pick. Why he went back to school? Why he went not only went back to school, right, transferred from Wake to Notre Dame. You look at what Sam Hartman did at Wake Forest.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the last time we saw an NFL talent at Wake that transferred from Wake Forest, look to Michigan State 2 years ago. Their running back, Javon Walker.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he's playing in Seattle right now. Yeah, He was at Wake Forest. He was at Wake Forest, went to Michigan State, and was a Heisman Trophy candidate.
Jeez.
Sam Hartman is the same way. Sam Hartman can roll the ball as long as they keep him healthy. Notre Dame should be fine, and I think that was a big problem for them. The question for Notre Dame is what's the offense going to look like, because Tommy Rees moved on to Alabama, and which is really interesting to me that he would leave Notre Dame for Alabama. But I mean, Tommy Rees is a guy who played quarterback at Notre Dame, and they couldn't keep him as a coach. So something tells me something wasn't right in that locker room, in that coaching room. So either he didn't click with Marcus Freeman, or Marcus Freeman they were butting heads. So hopefully they get on the same page. But I love Sam Hartman. I love him at quarterback. And with the weapons Notre Dame has, the weapons he has are much better than what he had at Wake Forest.
I have a question for you, man. You know, I'm a big Volunteer fan. You think Joe Milton gonna have a good year, man? I like Joe Milton. Chris talked about Joe Milton.
Joe Milton, big arm, low. He can spin it. He can spin it, but you don't know where it's going. He doesn't even know. He doesn't even know where it's going. And this comes from somebody who's. I watched him play at Michigan. I watched him play. He's a kid. He's got a big time arm. He's in the right system though. Josh Heupel's a great quarterback coach.
Mm-hmm.
He'll give him the right things. And in that offense, I mean, the question for the Volunteers is who's going to step up at wide receiver.
That's the question.
Because you lose talent like Jalen Hyatt and Cedric Tillman.
Ooh.
Those are two. They were two first round level picks. Mm-hmm. That at Tennessee, you can replace one. You got to replace two of them, and that's where Tennessee's going to have to step up. And again, in Josh Heupel's system, they're going to throw the ball down the field. They're not afraid to do that. Mm-hmm. So Joe Milton can do that. He can put the ball out there. He's got to keep it in. Joe Milton has to do two things: keep the ball in the playing field, because with that kind of arm, we know a lot of throws can go beyond the white lines. Mm-hmm. Keep the balls playable, but at the same time, make sure your guys can catch it and not the other guys. That's the problem. That's where Joe Milton comes in. But that Tennessee team, they'll be again. It'll come down to Tennessee and Georgia.
You know what I mean? I think this guy right here to be a former, great son. He's going to be the next one. I like Mason Taylor, man, for LSU, man. Mm-hmm. Have you watched a little bit of him last year, man?
I watched a lot of Mason Taylor last year. I actually have to look at him. Is he still at LSU?
I didn't see him move yet, so I'm guessing.
I thought I saw him hit the transfer portal. He might have backed out of the transfer portal, but I thought I saw him hit the transfer portal. Let me take a look. Oh no, he's on the roster for them. Yeah, no, Mason Taylor's a beast. Just look at the Alabama game. Look at Alabama last year. Mm-hmm. Mason Taylor catches the game time touchdown, catches the 2-point conversion that won him the game. Mm-hmm. That's all you need to know. And his first game was against Florida State last year, and he broke out. He could have a really good season. So,
do you see him as a 4-year guy, or do you see him coming out of junior year?
Mm-mm. First of all, he played last year as a true freshman. Mm-hmm. This will be his second year this year, so he'll be around next year. There is no reason he should. And the only reason he should want to stay in school is because he's having fun playing. Because he's having fun in college football. But for a guy like him, no. Finish out your career at LSU. Finish out your career at LSU and get your NFL career started.
Could you imagine him on your team, man?
I'd love to have Mason. I would love to have Mason Taylor on my team.
Hey man, it's another one, man. Before we get into baseball talk and get out of here, man. Baby Rice, man. I'm looking to see what he does too, man. This upcoming year with Caleb Williams for another year, man. You know what I mean? Jordan Addison's gone, so I think he's gonna get a lot of targets. What's your thoughts about that too?
USC will be fine on offense. They always are. Lincoln Riley always is. Problem is Alex Grinch's defense. Alex Grinch is terrible. He is a terrible defensive coordinator. He is absolutely. Go look at the Pac-12 championship game last year. They couldn't tackle a single guy. That's the one thing that's going to hold USC back. I mean, USC is going to put up a lot of points. They'll put up 50 and they'll give up 45. Yeah. And if they give up 45 points, you got to count on your offense to do as much. So if it gets to where they were late in the season, where Caleb Williams is hurt and not wanting to play, and offensive guys don't want to play, you saw what happened. Tulane just beat the ever-loving crap out of them. Mm-hmm. And that's kind of Alex Grinch's defense is kind of he doesn't put pressure. He doesn't apply pressure. He kind of just sits back and says, "All right, guys, just play zone." That doesn't work. That only works if you're getting pressure up front. If you're not getting pressure, you got to blitz from somewhere. You got to be able to play one-on-one on the outside. That's and Alex Grinch never changes his calls. I could tell you right now, it never changes. And that's why I said he's a terrible defensive coordinator. I don't know how he's gotten so many jobs. I mean, he's had jobs Washington State, then he goes to Oklahoma, and he's followed Lincoln Riley, but That defense is going to hold USC back. It's a bend but don't break defense, and when it does break, you get games like Utah last year.
What about Marvin Jr.? What do you think little Marvin gonna do this year?
Marvin Harrison's. If you're counting on somebody, a non-quarterback winning the Heisman, Marvin Harrison Jr.'s got to be the top of your list. It's going to come down to who wins, Michigan or Ohio State. I mean, if Ohio State wins, Marvin Harrison will probably be the guy in New York that's the non-quarterback.
When's the last time a receiver won the Heisman?
The last time a receiver won the Heisman? It's been a long while. I'm trying to think of receivers that have won the Heisman.
Only one I can think of was Troy, right?
Yeah, I got nothing. I couldn't even take a guess at it.
Let me see. Wow.
I mean, we'd have to look that up. I mean, Tim Brown, Desmond. I mean, it used to be
Desmond Howard.
It used to be wide. It used to be a good. The problem is if a wide receiver does really well, usually that means the quarterback has done pretty well. Mm-hmm. Usually the quarterback's done pretty well, and we all know what the media does. The media is gonna give it to the quarterback every single time. But in this case here, I think Marvin Harrison is the known commodity. You got newcomers coming in Ohio State. So if they're able to, if Marvin Harrison's able to put up big numbers, I don't think he's the bigger name a bigger name than the quarterback is right now. Usually it's the other way around, but I think as far as Marvin Harrison goes, yeah, he's definitely at the top of my non-quarterback Heisman list. Absolutely.
You know what I mean? But before we get out of here, man, what's your thoughts about my Orioles, man? Do you think they can hold this kind of success down?
It's I said this a lot. I mean, it's gonna go back. It's gonna go back and forth this is gonna go back and forth between them and the Rays for a while. And Orioles got the Rays this past weekend. They played a 3-game series. O's won the series, so the O's are in first place. Will they be in first place by the time we talk next week? Probably. It'll probably flip back and forth during the week. As far as the way this is going, but when the Orioles were, if we had this conversation 2 weeks ago, the Orioles were 7 games back. Mm-hmm. Nobody thought they would be in first place by now, and you see what happens. So, I like what the O's are. I think they need to make some moves. I think they need to bolster their bullpen, though.
I think we picked that pitcher from the A's. What's his name? The Japanese pitcher. But I think we need some more than that.
I think you need. I think if you're gonna make a play, if the Orioles are gonna make a playoff push, they need to bolster that bullpen because I think they've got enough. I think they've got enough bats in the lineup, but you gotta have arm. You gotta have arm. You gotta have. Look, you can have as many bats as you want in the playoffs. You need the arm. You need the arms.
Yeah, man.
And you need to be. And I think the O's have the right mentality right now of, hey, if a guy's not going, we got, if a guy's faltering, we'll take him out. We'll get him out of the game. Well, you can only do that if you have the arms to do it. and you've got to do that in the playoffs. You can't ride with somebody. You got to let your starting pitchers ride, and then you got to have the bullpen that you got to shut them down. You got to have shutdown guys in your bullpen. You can't be giving up leads.
And Gibson's been looking good, man. Gibson's been looking good. Forrest Kyle Gibson's been looking good. Batista's been looking good. But that throw from the third baseman, his name has got my mind wondering. I forgot his last name. To first baseman, that was a great throw against the Rays the other day. But man, what are our chances tonight against Philly at 640? What's your thoughts on that game
against Philly?
Yeah.
If you can't beat the Phillies, I don't know what to tell you. But,
I'm just trying to get your opinion, man.
If you can't beat the Phillies right now, that's trouble. But no, and I know your household will be watching the game.
Oh yeah, my wife is definitely a Phillies fan.
My pick. My pick is always going to be whoever's playing the Phillies. Yeah. I'm a Mets fan, a Cowboys fan, a Rangers fan, and a Celtics fan. Yeah. I hate Philadelphia. I hate anything Philadelphia. Okay. Anything Philadelphia, I'm out. So I hope y'all win. I hope y'all win. I'll sweep that series.
And you know what I mean? It's been what you got going on today, man? Going on to this week. I mean, what's going on this week on Fifth?
This week we got we'll be doing the Summer of Greatness again on Sunday. So we're getting ready for that. By the way, congratulations to your boy on Sunday.
Who?
We did on Sunday. This past Sunday, we did greatest play of all time.
Mm-hmm.
And the headline from that tournament is LeBron over Jordan. As we had the chase down block.
Mm-hmm.
The chase down block beat out as we call it, the shot. But it won't. A lot of people have already gotten at me. How can you put that as the greatest play? And I was like, give me another one. Give me another play.
You messed the greatest catch though up, man. I think the Franco Harris catch is slightly there.
The immaculate reception, great play, but we had a guest on. They gave. I mean, you would have liked it. They put in the Edelman catch, which
that's the top one too. Right?
I mean, okay, which is an okay play for me, but for me in the NFL wise, greatest offensive play is Montana to Rice.
I thought you were about to go with the Tyree catch. That was disrespectful too.
No, that's probably no. To me, the Tyree catch is the biggest blunder in the history. It's the biggest blunder. I mean, you have Roosevelt Colvin should have sacked him. For some reason, he just decided to stop. I still watch that play, and I have no idea why Roosevelt Colvin let him go.
I don't understand.
There's no reason why that happened. Then he throws the ball. Why Rodney Harrison didn't knock it down? Why nobody hit him? I still have no idea. David Tyree should have been broken in half. Anybody else jumps up for that ball, they don't come down. I mean,
I don't know, man. It still hurts.
There's a lot that happened on that play, and that play that David Tyree. Everybody says, "Oh, that's the play." That's not the play that did it for the Giants. Mm-hmm. The play that did it for the Giants was Asante Samuel dropping the ball. The very next play, next play after that catch, if Asante Samuel picks it off and runs it back for a touchdown like he should have, we're not even talking about that play. We would have said, oh, that was just some weird thing that happened because the next play, the Patriots got a pick six. And we all know what happened. 2 plays later, Plaxico Burress is running wide open. Is running wide open because Asante Samuel fell.
Mm-hmm.
But that's why I would never put the Tyree catch in there. I mean, there's only one the catch though. and that's Dwight Clark, and against the Cowboys. Now, not my Cowboys, because that was back in the 70s. That was before I was even born. So I got to live with that. But we did greatest play this past weekend, and it was fun reliving all those old plays, and it was interesting. The most interesting thing we did was NFL defense.
Mm-hmm.
And because a lot of people, what do people always say about the NFL? They don't play defense in the Pro Bowl. Tell that to Sean Taylor.
Mm.
That's all I have to look up. Sean Taylor's Pro Bowl and tell me that's the best defensive play I've ever seen in my life. Guy came from 60 yards away and nearly killed somebody. So we had that as our best NFL defensive play. We did our best college defensive play. This is where things get interesting.
Mm.
The best defensive play I've ever seen in college was done by a running back.
Mm.
And that was Maurice Claret when he stole the ball from Sean Taylor in the national championship game. So it was interesting when we started talking about all our favorite plays and putting them down. But at the end of the day, if you go and you go to Fifth Down Sports and you listen to that tournament, LeBron's chase down block, every single round that it went through, it was a clean sweep. It was a clean sweep. Every single category was like, nope, it's won it. And I had arguments with people over the weekend of, that wasn't even the best play in that game. And I was like, what are you talking about? That won the game for them. And he said, what about the shot? I was like, yeah, if LeBron doesn't make that block, Warriors are up 5, the entire game switches. And not only does LeBron make that block, but they go down, they score a basket on the other end. That's a 4-point swing right then and there. And guess what? That shot that Kyrie hits doesn't even do anything. It does nothing. It does nothing for them because they're already down. They're down 5. Yeah, he hits the shot. Okay. And the Warriors would have said, all right, we're still up. So that chase down block was, I still contend to, and anybody who's got questions on it, find me a better defensive play, a better NBA defensive play, because I'm not seeing one.
And I'm with you because how high he jumped. I thought he was going to hit the headboard. I thought it was going to be like the movie.
Yeah, and that was the thing. That was the thing. The championship round was LeBron against Jordan, and the category I picked, the category that came out of the bag was most athletic play. You tell me you can't tell me that's not that you can't tell me that block was not the most athletic play. How high he got and how far he ran to chase that block down. That's why I said it was a no-brainer when we got to it. But yeah, so we did that last Sunday. This Sunday will be an interesting one because we're doing greatest fantasy genre. So we got great. So we'll be talking movies, books, video games. So we'll be talking a lot. Got to go with a non-sports topic, and the non-sports topics are always an adventure. But we'll be doing that. We'll be doing that this week. That's what we're getting ready for.
Mm-hmm. So, man, I appreciate you coming on, man. Like always, make sure you go check out Fifth Down Sports on YouTube and Blog Talk Radio. What's the channel? What's the channel number they can tune into?
Blog Talk Radio. Blog Talk Radio. Just Google search Fifth Down. We're the We'll be the first one that comes. Fifth Down Sports. We're the first one that comes up.
Okay.
There's a lot of other fifth down stuff, but Fifth Down Sports. You put Fifth Down Sports. We're the first one that comes up.
And make sure you go check that out, man. And go check him out Sunday. He's having another Summer of Greatness. Go check that out. And this has been Midday Sports. Hopefully everybody have a good weekend. Weekend. We will see you back next Monday. And we're out.